Welcome everybody to another video about my lovely little Maserati here. This is a bit of a short video this time because I'm feeling really quite manky because I've got the flu. It must be from working so much in the cold recently. I would moan about it, but I watched Randall on Shed by the Tracks and he's working in proper serious cold conditions with snow and stuff, so makes me feel a bit of a wimp moaning about the relatively sort of moderate conditions we have here. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to be fitting the sleeve that Toole Automotive have sent me for the induction system, nice silicone sleeve. The other thing I'm going to do is fix my P0492 error, which is just the secondary air injection system is not quite providing enough air to heat up the catalytic converter on cold start. It's not a particularly serious error. It's just good to get it fixed because it's better for the catalytic converter to get that done. Quickly, I'd like to also say thanks everyone for subscribing. I really appreciate it, and thanks very much for the nice comments I've been getting. You know, to know that I'm doing something that's moderately useful to people is really nice, and it makes all the process of making videos much more worthwhile for me. So thanks very much. So I've had to buy a new one of these secondary air system injection valves that takes the air from a pump down there and injects it into the exhaust manifolds and therefore into the catalytic converters at startup to heat up the cats quicker. You know, basically get more oxygen in there, which burns the unburnt fuel and heats up the cat. So I'm going to fit that in just a minute. But then I read somewhere that they said that the secondary air pump down there actually has a filter in it. So the secondary air pump is circled on that diagram in red, and it just runs for about 30 seconds or a minute or something after engine startup to pump that air up into the manifolds to heat the catalytic converters up. And it struck me that its air filter might be incredibly blocked because I doubt very much if anyone else has ever looked in there. So I took out all my air filter, which is horrendously dirty. It's one of the jobs I haven't done yet. And I've got a nice cool sort of one of these to fit from Toole Automotive later on actually, which will be nice. But looking in here, it's all manky and horrible because I bet no one else has ever cleaned it. This is the problem with having something like a, oil breather pipe going in here, is that you do end up with dirt on here. So while I'm here, I'm going to take this off and I'm just going to gently clean this without upsetting my throttle body. And I'm going to undo that bolt, I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to find out how to get to my pump filter, change the filter, then I can stick that back on, and that might just fix my recurring check engine light issue. So as I said in my previous video, I follow a sort of standardized troubleshooting process. With the Maserati, you check the battery's okay, then you plug in your OBD2 scanner and you read your codes. I read each module independently because if you try and do a system scan, it all goes pear-shaped. Then you get your little PO code there, and I've got the P0492 because it's just one bank that's causing me grief. I shove it quickly into Google, and then that gives me a response, and it just happened to be that I got a very good response here from a certain chap who had sort of fixed it before but not quite got it fully done. So following on from that, then I realised I have to replace the valve on top. It could also, of course, be something else, such as the lambda sensor under reading a bit, but that would probably trigger some other error as well. So this is the housing where the air filter sits in. And if I come over here, it's actually really easy to get out. It's one bolt there, and then it just goes into these two pegs here. So it's really easy to take out, and then you get to have a look at everything else down here and get to things like this. Oh, look, there's a bit of my thing from the... I better put that back. Never mind. So yeah, everything looks fairly manky here, but it's all okay. I must think about changing these this belt for the alternator soon, but then again I'm probably going to have to get in there and get the alternator out and change the what do you call it thing, voltage regulator. You can buy them, I've found them, so I think I'll just do it myself. Means taking all this off, and then I might as well do the coolant hose back there, and which means taking all that off. So but for today I'm just worried about getting into this pump here. Right, so the cover actually comes off, so you don't need to take the pump out. There's those little tabs there, and there's those little tabs there. There's 3 of them. I got 2 out, and then it nicely slid off to the side. So this must be the filter here. Doesn't look that bad, does it? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit blocked or something, if I just cleaned it up. I mean, it's only happening through one side, so it would only have to be perhaps reducing the airflow a bit and not being good enough for both. I looked at it on the Autel, because you can look at the temperatures of the cats as she's warming up, and they seem to be broadly in agreement, actually. So I'm kind of wondering if it's just one was slightly lower than the other, and it just eked that problem, you know? Because this definitely runs fine. I can hear it all running up nice every morning. Anyway, I will just quickly do that, bolt it back. But this is one of the things I meant about how easy it is to work on this car. Look how much space you've got. You know, a few clips to undo the air filter, pull this bit off, take out all this box. Look how much space you've got to work around this engine. All right, getting down into manifolds must be a pain, but you know, it's a lot easier than working on something like the Volvo.
Right, far too much looking underneath the bonnet. Here's a gratuitous shot of the Maserati flying by to even it all out.
Right, so I got my bit back in. The pump is all nicely done up again. There's 3 clips. There's one there, and there is one there, which is actually on this. So now I might as well put my nice new intake from Toole Automotive on there. So I think I'm going to start looking at that now.
So I shoved my camera up on the side, and as seems to be normal for me, my microphone failed during this bit. I am going to get a better microphone, but yeah, it's 80 quid, so I'm just going to have to get one. Anyway, yeah, so here I am. I've got the intake pieces in, and I'm going to fit this sleeve from Toole Automotive. So the first thing is you just remove the rather easy clips, actually. The original clips were quite easy to unclip, and I've kept them on the side just as spares, or I don't know. They're like those pinch clips that you have to have special pliers to undo, so I saved them rather than chucking them away. The new sleeve actually comes with really nice stainless steel proper Jubilee clips that you can just use a screwdriver on. So at this point I'm doing a very, very poor explanation of those weird little horn things on the intake. They're actually called Helmholtz Resonators, and what they do is the sound wave from the induction system sort of goes down that tube as well, bounces off the back and comes and interferes with the sound waves that were coming down the tube and cancel each other out. It's a bit like a automatic noise cancelling headphone system or something, but it's set to a specific frequency of the induction pipe. So if you messed around with those, you could basically change the induction noise a little bit. Quite how much and how much they actually do, I don't honestly know, but I know you can fit them to exhaust to get rid of resonance, and it works quite well apparently. I'm going to try that idea on the boat one of these days, I think. There's some fancy calculations you can use to get the wavelengths right, and you make the tube like a quarter of the wavelength or something. Yeah, another thing that I can spend a load of time on and mess around with the welder and drive myself half crazy with, really. Now, as you can see, I'm using a screwdriver there to try and tighten up the Jubilee clips, and this is a perfect way to sort of like slip off that Jubilee clip and end up stabbing yourself in the hand. It's much better to use a little socket. They're usually about 7mm or 8mm for the more heavy duty Jubilee clips, and use that on a standard sort of socket handle. It's much easier, it won't slip off, and you can get much better control over them. Problem for me is my handle is about 20 foot in the opposite direction, and I'm far too lazy to go and pick it up. So 2 things have come since I finished this job. One is that my P0492 error and the check engine light is now off, and that all seems to be fixed and running good, which is great. The second thing is that before I had a slightly rough idle sometimes, and that's gone too, and I think that might have been my old sleeve. Either it wasn't quite fitting properly or something, but yeah, the idle's now a lot smoother, and if you think about it, if you've got a slight leak on that little intake sleeve, it's right between the airflow meter measuring how much air comes into the induction system and the throttle body. So if you have a little bit of extra air coming in there, basically it's giving the wrong fueling information to the engine and making it run a bit lame. So I think I fixed that too, which is great.
Right, that's everything done, so I'm really happy with that. So you've just got this nice shiny black intake, so thanks very much to Toole Automotive for supplying that to me. And as always, if you found this video useful, interesting, or something, then please like, subscribe, and if you think there's something I could have added or there's something I did wrong, please feel free to comment. All criticism welcome. Have a good day.